I want to talk and say why I have a passion for a food forest. It could be living in the desert. It makes you enter a different world. I think it's good for your soul. And not only feeds your stomach, it feeds your soul. I think all the sounds that come around the food forest, it's just nature's way of you relaxing and taking it all in. If I was around a regular forest, maybe I wouldn't feel so passionate about it. But being in the desert and seeing stuff grow and come up on its own really makes you feel good. I think we're meant as human beings, just like any other animal. I think we're meant to have that feel of plants around us, and it makes us feel good. So I'm passionate about a food forest because it grows food, it makes you feel good, it smells good, and you can hear all the sounds. So I'm just making up a film today, showing you more of the food forest and how I feel about it. I am passionate about the food forest. I love it. When we used to have a garden, especially in Oklahoma, I could grow a lot of food. They'd get rain. I had good soil. It was real easy till, just raise a bunch of stuff. And then we moved out here on this property, so we were still tilling, and we done all right on it. But after a while, I just got so bored. That's a horse. After a while, I got so bored of the garden, the up and down rows. And anybody that does that, I know it's a good way to garden. But I just got tired of it. And quite, lost interest. I could go okra here, a whole bunch of plants. But we was watering a whole lot. Because when you water a garden, it just starts drying out. And so it get crusty. And then you till it again. Then later you water it and it get crusty. They're just the same old thing. But once I learned about food forest, it just like, that hit my soul. That's just exactly what I wanted, a food forest. I just love the wildness of it and how it feels. Here in the desert, you step into it and you're just like in a different world. It's not as big as a food forest. If I grew one in Oklahoma, it would already, in 5 years, really be up. Because it is dry, it takes longer here. And it's getting jungle-like, but not quite. But I just love the food forest. It does something to my soul. And I love walking around looking at new plants come up. And I just got, where the regular type garden wasn't working for me. It was boring. And I just lost interest. I just love the learning how to grow food forest, to experiment, see what does well. Figuring out how to do low water with leaves and different plants. Use the willows to my advantage to make more shade. And I don't do it too much, but sometimes I'll chop these little ones down for chopping and drop. But if I cut a big one, it goes to the horses and donkeys. Or I use it for fence material. But I just love how the food forest feels. And we do get squirrels and snakes and mice and rats in here because they love it too. No telling what comes in here that we don't see. I know there's the cats that come in here sometimes at night, but it just perks me up to see the different thing, and I just see something now. I had a few years ago this plant over here. Golly. And I did take them out because they are kind of like a weed, but I enjoy them too. But this plant, you know how a tomato sweats when you touch it? It's like wet, and it's soft like a rabbit fur. I do like it. And this is a good place as long as it stays there. And there's the little flowers on it. And I think it just washed in from the the flood water that comes through here. So my berries are making. I'm glad to see that. The wind has been so hard, I was afraid it's going to dry them out. Peaches are doing good. And they'll probably need a strong wind to knock some of these peaches off. I'm going to be loaded. And I just love the plants and the whole thing about it. Oh, I know. I know. And she loves the food forest more than anybody. More than I do, I think. If that's possible. She loves the food. Being in the desert, we had to learn to make windbreaks, shade. And this is facing toward the mountains. So that's a nice tree to break the wind. I got a few fruit trees in here. Lots of willows. And the chickens come in here and go all through it. So I had to learn a lot and figure things out, which was fun because this is what I wanted, like a jungle, the field. It's peace and quiet. There's nothing like a food forest. And because we bring in leaves from town, we get lots of pecan trees and other trees that pop up. And if I can use them and if they're in the right spot, I'll let them grow. But if they're just out in here, I'll get rid of them, use them for mulch. But we had to know which way the winds were blowing. We don't usually get a lot of wind from the mountains, but when we do, it's really hard. We had this fence almost knocked down because of the strong winds. And I do got willows in that fence, but I'm going to leave it because it might help hold the fence up. So I'll try to figure all that out. I just love it. I think this could be a local weed. And it's getting a big old flower on it. And it's soft. We usually take them out, but I'm going to leave it here for now, just to see it flower. If anybody knows what this is, I wouldn't mind knowing, but I think it's a local weed, but I'm not sure. But it's just another thing that came in on the water path, and the seed stopped right there and started growing. And that's what I like about food forest. The seed comes in here, the food forest tries to take care of it. And this is a group of trees. We don't know what they are, and I might end up planting them around about and keeping them. They're all through here, and there's one right down there. Some are big and some are little, but I'm happy to have them because in the desert you can't go grow trees outside your yard because it's desert. But in here, the food forest welcomes just about all seed. And I think it's going to be a cute tree. It could be a fruit. It looks like a bunch of them come out of a bag. Or we threw seeds down here and didn't know it. I don't know what kind of plant this is. But for low water, it's doing pretty good. When I come in here and clean this bed up, and remove the willows, I need to fix this fence because the wind, you can see how the wind's knocked it back. And put chicken wire on that fence because it looks a little snaky. Hey, somebody's chasing lizards. So I'll have to clean this bed up. I might take that willow out, use that stick. This is my pear tree, and it's getting yellow at the end. A lot of times, because this isn't a very old food forest, they go down past the mulch into the desert dirt. And there's not much life in that desert dirt. And then the plants start having a hard time of it. But the idea is to get this soil better. This one needs more leaves in it. But I might just to get in here too and clean it up and start planting food. So once I get a bed, I call these squares beds. And once I get it cleaned up, and then it's like a painter. It's like, I might put a tomato here, or squash here. I might put a tree here, potatoes. You just decide what you want to do, and you just keep working at it and filling it up because you got all this space. I'm gonna let the tomatoes grow up a tree, cherry tomatoes grow up a tree. And some people might go, that's a waste of time putting flowers, roses in your food forest because you gotta grow food. Well, so we have food for our bellies, and we have other plants for our soul. And to me, that's what a food forest is about. You mix it up, and it makes the human feel pretty good. Then you got amazing plants. You don't pay attention to them. And that potato has been coming up in there for about 2 or 3 years. I've had watered it before. Not much. Last year it died out, so I thought it was dead. And here it popped up. So this year I moved it over here and make sure I watered it and took care of it. And see what happens. It hung on no matter what. You got potatoes there. But I can't wait to fill up each of these squares and put gobs of food in it. And this is my favorite bed of all because of the flowers in it. Right over there is the swing, and it's all nice and shady over there. It's just so peaceful, and it feels good to hear all the sounds out here. There's a bird of paradise coming up. I'm going to leave it because it brings in bees. And then this vine I got on sale at Lowe's. And I planted out here. It's kind of like a trumpet vine. It has orange flowers. It dies back every year, but every year it comes up. So I'll have that out here when it blooms out. But this one here is for the soul. Just to enjoy it. Listen to the sounds. And I'll have food growing too on these trellises. And I got some tomatoes. I planted cherry tomatoes that grew up on that trampoline trellis. This just shows you how great it feels out in the food forest. I never hear about anybody sitting in them gardens with the teal rose. It's just not the same. You don't have the same feeling? This is like a Back to Eden garden. Whatever you can imagine Back to Eden be, this is it. It's beautiful. I appreciate y'all coming by from out West Homestead. Bye.